Hello, fantasy basketball fans. It's me, DC, and I'm here to help you get ready for week 4 of the NBA season by breaking down who's available on most of your waiver wires. But first, let's talk about some guys that might be available, probably aren't, kind of must own. You don't have to go this deep and overthink it if these guys are available. Pascal Siakam's only available in 6% of leagues, but he's coming back from injury today as of recording, Sunday. By the time you're watching it, maybe he's already come back. Siakam should be rostered in all leagues. So take a look. It probably won't help, but just make sure someone didn't get too frustrated with injuries or whatever and have to cut bait. Go scoop him up. Also, Reggie Jackson, 67% rostered. There's going to be a big theme about this week and the schedule. Clippers have a great schedule, 4 games, all on streaming days. Make sure Reggie Jackson's picked up. 67%. You could really use him this week. And if you're in a daily change league, you would get to play him a lot. This is more the other guy I have on the must roster. Maybe I'm overstating it, but Klay Thompson's 86% rostered. So he's available in 14% of leagues. I get it. He's probably not playing till January. I haven't heard a new update yet. I'll keep looking for it. But we're seeing video of him. He's looking good. That's still probably a ways away from, running, contact drills, stuff like that. But if you have an IR spot, make sure you go grab him. Since I'm talking about injured guys, TJ Warren isn't on the must roster, even though I'm going to mention it right now. I wrote him down under my, put him on the watch list. I just want to mention him because I'm talking about injuries. 36% rostered, which is good for a player we don't really have a timeline on yet, but he's out of the walking boot, so it caught my eye. So put him on your watch list. Keep an eye out for any news stories about that because he could be valuable if he's back sooner than expected. Let's get into the guys on the waiver wire that I think you should pick up for this week. Before we go too far, I hope you already watched the week 4 preview video. If not, I'm going to link it here right now. I can quickly bring up the schedule for the streamers so we can take a look at this, right? The ideal team for pickup, I already mentioned, Clippers. They get 4 games. They're all on the low volume days, and they avoid Wednesday and Friday where there's a heavy load of games. Next up, I think Miami and Philly are the next best. Miami has 2 definite streamers. They're on one of the busy days. But Denver, Monday, maybe you can get when they play Denver. You might be able to get them in there. I think Philly's better. 3 definite streamers. They avoid the high volume days. They get the Knicks on Monday. You might be able to use them. And then Utah only got a 3-game week, but they're all on the good days. Anyway, you're going to see this because there's going to be a lot of Clippers in Philly, but let's get into it. My number 1 pickup for this week is probably Nick Batum. He was a big surprise last year, right? Cut from the Hornets, ended up on the Clippers. I think he was cut. I don't think he's traded. I'm sticking with it. Cut from the Hornets, ended up on the Clippers. It was really valuable for him. He had a slower start this year, didn't play. Then he only got 5-5. But it looks like he's coming back into form. His last 3 games, he had 14-8. He had 20-5. He had 12-8. There's some steals and blocks mixed in there. He's only 43% rostered, and that should be a lot higher, especially with the Clippers having a good week. Nick Batum, I feel like you pick him up, play him at small forward or power forward. You feel good about it this week, and then we see what happens. There's going to be plenty of run with Kawhi out and everything that he should be integral. A little surprised it was this slow to get going, but hopefully this keeps up. Next up, let's talk about Devin Vassell. I've been vacillating on if he was going to be, my 2 or 3 for this week or 4. So the issue here is San Antonio only has 3 games. None of them are on the for sure streaming days. That's not true. Sunday is a low volume day, but their other 2 games out of the 3 are on the high volume days. If you pick him up and he's not in your best guys, it's going to be kind of hard to use him. I think he might be more valuable in a points league because he doesn't always fill the stats for example, his last game was pretty spread out, right? 12 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, and a block. That's great. That makes me happy for a category league. But before that is 21 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, no steals. He did get 2 blocks, but those are the type of lineup stat lines where I think could be interesting in a points league because you're not counting on 2 blocks one day, 3 blocks the next. And then unfortunately gets a day where he gets 7 points, 5 rebounds, 0-0, and then 2 blocks. It's a really inconsistent thing. So I tend to think points league, but I think he's worth a look in category league. The issue here is what I said. San Antonio, he's not super usable this week. So if you pick him up, you try and play him a little, but it's almost a long-term stash, so I can't fully endorse it yet. He's rostered in 30% of leagues, But what makes it worse than the 3 games this week, 2 high volume days, is he only has 2 games next week. So you could potentially be using a waiver move right now, only get 1 game out of him this week. And then on the upside, the 2 games next week are on good streaming days. So you'd be able to use him for those 2 games, but it's still only 2 games. So he's showing some signs. His minutes are a little bit up. He had some games that caught my attention, but I also think unless you really believe that he's going to be, in your lineups for all season long and you want that long-term ad, I think you probably stay away from him. Next up, Shake Milton, 25% rostered. 76ers have a great setup for this week. And unfortunately, the team's been hit by COVID or not necessarily everyone has COVID. Some are just in the protocols. So they're down some players right now, which means Milton's getting some extra minutes. He had 34 and 36 minutes over the last couple of games, and he's doing a little of everything. 16, 8, and 5 with 2 steals. 13, 7, and 6 with 2 steals and a block. This is awesome. His worst shooting was 40% against the Bulls, and that's not bad if you're playing a point guard or shooting guard. Sure, you'd like it higher, but he had 53% the game before, 60% the game before. Admittedly, he only had 7 points then, but this is a really solid ad that's not going to hurt you anywhere. I don't know that it's long-term, and that's why I bumped him down. But for this week, I'm pretty excited about Shake. And we're going to kind of stick here with a lot of Philly options. At 31% roster, I think Niang is worth a pickup. Philly has the same great schedule that I was just talking about with Shake. But over the last 4 games, he's averaging about 28 minutes. A big part of this is Tobias Harris is out with health and safety protocols. I don't know when he's going to come back. So, if you're in a weekly locks league, then you don't really care about the good low volume days. You're trying to play your best players. But he's playing well right now, not amazing. He had 12, 1, and 2 assists, no big deal, but 14 and 7 and 2 makes you happy. He's gotten at least 2 3-pointers all of the last 4 games. So he's pretty hot right now. I don't think it's a long-term ad, but if you pick him up and use him in your daily change league, I think you could be happy. And once Tobias is back, you just cut bait and move on to something else. The upside is Philly's favorable schedule also is weighted towards the start of the week here, right? They play Knicks and Milwaukee back-to-back, so you could use them then. Keep going and hope to get the Toronto and Indiana use out of them, but if not, that's already played out well, and then maybe you can move on to a Clipper. And when I say move on to a Clipper, I'm saying that because they have a back-to-back for Saturday and Sunday, so both of those are low-volume days. If you have someone, you can play them right there. So if you didn't want to grab a Clipper early, you should be thinking about that towards the end of the week. I think a great ad is Terrence Mann. Maybe more so in point leagues, but I think it's fine in category leagues. He's not going to hurt you in the percentages to be worried about. He's only 29% rostered. I think that's too low. I have Terrence Mann in a couple leagues. Actually, let me check. Do I have him in every? Yeah, at least on this site, I have him in every league. So there it goes. He's not really popping for other categories, which makes me a little more interested in points league. But since you can play him on all 4 games this week, and I don't think he's going to hurt you anywhere, I think it's really valuable. Does him and Nick Batum fight against each other? No, not really. I think they both can be viable options to play. They're going to be doing some different things. I did list Batum ahead of him, but I think Terrence Mann's worth the look. And he's probably the type of person who's going to be right at that cusp of keeping on your roster all season, cut or bring back. I was hoping, maybe still am hoping for a breakout season for him, but I haven't totally seen it yet, but the opportunity is still there. I know I've talked about him in other weeks, and the schedule is perfect for getting him some run on your fantasy team. Back to talking about Philly guys. How about Furkan Korkmaz? I'm not recommending him for the whole week, but if you want to take advantage of that Knicks-Milwaukee back-to-back to start the week, it could be interesting. He makes the list because he just had the hot hand. He played amazingly well against the Bulls. He had 7 3-pointers, shot 69%. That's pretty nice. He got 25 points, 6 rebounds. Now, do I expect him to do that over the next 2 games as well? Probably not. But if you wanted a chance to try and get some 3-pointers from, and you need to plug in a shooting guard small forward, maybe you're without LeBron for your lineup right now because LeBron's going to be hurt till Thursday or Friday, we think. You could get Korkmaz in there, try and get some stats because they've got the good schedule and see what happens. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. You just move on to something else. There are other teams with the back-to-back Monday, Tuesday you could take advantage. If you wanted, you could look at Atlanta because they play Golden State and Utah. Their rest of the week isn't as favorable matchups, but they play Milwaukee on Sunday, so you might be able to get some use out of those Atlanta ads. I was really focusing a lot of my look at some of these teams. Like I considered Royce O'Neal for Utah. He just had a really good game with 6 steals, but he doesn't normally get double-digit points. So if you're in a category league looking for something, you also can't count on 6 steals. So Royce O'Neal, you maybe could use if you want it for Utah, but I can't be overly confident that you're definitely going to get something. It's decent matchups, Atlanta, Indiana, Miami. You don't love the Miami matchup as far as that goes, but the game he just had 6 steals in, that was against Miami, so I can't poo-poo it too much. For points league, I just made a note to say it again. Grayson Allen, 44% roster, probably too small. I'm not super interested in category league still, but the Bucks got 4 games. They have at least 2 of their games on the streaming days. Unfortunately, 2 on the high volume days. But I keep bringing up, I think he should be owned in points league. He's very involved in what the Bucks are doing, and the Bucks are short-handed, so he's getting a lot of play time. For your watch list for the upcoming week, let's go ahead and flag Serge Ibaka. He's coming back from injury. I don't know what the minutes limit or anything like that's going to look. He's only 17% rostered. I don't think you have to scoop him up yet, or maybe ever, but let's take a look. Whenever someone comes back from injuries, and it's a name we know from the past, could be interesting. If you're hurting for a big, maybe there's something there. I'm not super optimistic about it, but it doesn't cost anything to flag someone for your watch list and just keep an eye on how they're going. A little bit higher rostered. Thad Young almost made this list, 46% rostered. It's funny, I mentioned him as a drop a couple weeks ago. I don't regret that. Jakob Poeltl out. Thad's getting some more run. He's looking good. I don't know how long it's going to last. If you want to pick it up and go for it, sure. But San Antonio has the bad schedule. That's the reason he didn't make the ads for this week. The 3 games now, the 2 games next week. If you need a guy and you want to plug him in and see how long you can get use of it, go for it. But I think you might be able to piece something more together in your daily change leagues. And because I don't think that, maybe he ingratiates himself. He always has, like everywhere else he's been. He's a good player, but he was completely out of the rotation before. So I'm not confident it's going to last. Another guy I'm not confident in lasting, Frank Kaminsky for the Suns. Phoenix has 4 games, so that's not so bad, although not great streaming days. Really got the run because Ayton's got like a bone bruise on his leg, I believe. He had 29 minutes, then he only got 6 minutes, then he got 29 minutes. I'm not sure it's going to continue, but Phoenix does start against Sacramento and then Portland. Honestly, Sacramento, Portland, Memphis, Houston. That's a pretty good week of matchups if he was going to get all of that time. I don't think he's going to, but he's 5% rostered. If you need to plug him in and hope for the best, or just be tracking it down to coach's report of, is JaVale McGee playing? Is Ayton playing? Kaminsky might be able to be used in spot starts this week until their bigs get healthy. And let's end this week's video with a fun player, Davion Mitchell. Nickname's Off Night. That's hella fun. He's playing really well. I still put him in the watch list category. He's 27% rostered. I think it's fine if you want to add him because nothing else he's really fun to root for. He's had a couple good games. 4 3-pointers, 19, 4, and 4. That's a good night against Charlotte. Not that Charlotte's like the best at locking down their guard, so that could be part of it. The Pelicans, he had 12, 2, and 8. Against Utah, he had 18, 4, and 2. I really like that he got the 8 assists against the Pelicans. This isn't a big change in numbers either. 30 minutes, 26, 25 minutes. This is what we've been seeing for him kind of throughout the season. Has it gone down to like 19 points against Phoenix? 19 minutes against Phoenix? Yes, but otherwise, he's in the high 20s, touching it in the 30 minutes. He's getting a lot of run. He's still a rookie. By the end of the year, he could be really valuable. Seeing the 4 3-pointers in this game, he had one other game with 3 3-pointers, but the willingness to shoot, to contribute on offense is making me really interested. Something that's a little odd, he's a great defender. You can already see it for a rookie coming in, that he's really like mucking up the gears on people, but he's not getting a ton of defensive stats yet. When I say he's a great defender, I don't want people thinking, oh, here we go, it's Matisse Thybulle or something like that, right? Could he be that? Sure, but for your fantasy team, that's not what he is right now, and that's why he's my watch list. I can't count on him for being awesome at defense or offense. While he's a player I like a lot, I'm just tracking it. I'm hoping that there's the chance that I could say, yes, roster him right now. If there's anyone else you're considering, please leave a comment down below. If you like the show and want to support it, I am partnered with Underdog. I've got the code FBA. They will do up to $100 in deposit matching. So you deposit 100, you get 100 free to play there for free. They've got cool pick'ems, bets. If you got questions, leave comments down below. Hit me up on Twitter. I can join a quick, one night draft with you. That's pretty fun on there. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Don't forget to set your lineups and go out and win your week. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe or even the little bell will give you alerts. And I'll be back soon with another video for you.